Good evening. Tonight, in our Conscious Gatherers, which you are on now, this is our episode 62. So we welcome you all on this day of 2-22-2022. So today we have the 6 2s, and as some people have posted, 222:222. Now, what an auspicious day this is. So we're going to discuss some of that in today's episode, and I have here with me Royse and just the two of us. So and maybe somebody will join us in after a while. We shall see. But welcome everybody to this episode 62 of Conscious Gatherers. All right. So let's. You ready to go?
Ready.
All right. Yeah, it's been interesting. I always use that word because it kind of sums things up because of what comes through and what's happening in the world. And we've discussed some of that. It's like, wow, a lot happening in this world. And I think I've used the words, a lot is going down, and indeed it is. And so this day of 222:222 has many meanings to it, and I thought we would talk about those first. So, number one, it's the purity of love, and all is love. And what is love? Another word for love is actually light. So that's that light, that's awareness of who we are.
Which equates to life as well.
Exactly. and life, and that's life beyond this planet. So,
but
all
inclusive
life.
Of it.
And very inclusive, because it can't be anything, it's all inclusive. There's no outside out there, as we would, way to explain it. All right. Another symbolism of the number 2, it means divine mother. And it's your emotions. It's your intuition. And people's intuition, man, I've seen a lot of people really honing that in, or recognizing how much intuition they have. Mm-hmm. Now, everybody has it, and some people, they use it more than others, or are more adept at using their intuition. So those of you who feel that you don't have that, indeed you do, and you just start paying attention. And again, we all have different so-called degrees of how intuitive we are.
And it's just like a muscle that needs to be exercised, mm-hmm. just like any other muscle. So the more you use it, the stronger it gets.
Exactly. It's that gut feel that we've discussed in other episodes. So pay attention to that. Pay attention to yourself and how you feel and how comfortable you may feel with something as being the truth or not. And your gut will tell you. That, again, is your intuition. So, another thing about the number 2, a lot of people have talked about what is my soul mission, my divine purpose. And that can mean so many different things. And, some people do have a mission, so-called mission. We all do. I really, we all do. Mm-hmm. But it may not be so outward manifestation of that statement. And in some cases, yes, it is. But it may just be to understand who and what you are. All right. Do you want to add to that?
Not to that, no.
All right. Now, one thing that was coming through, I just mentioned manifestations. This is the time of it. It's a fertile field to manifest. And so, again, watch your thoughts, watch your words, and what you listen to, or what you pay a lot of attention to and take within you.
Yeah, what you focus upon.
Focus upon, thank you. That may not be very positive. You can go in an observance point of view, but to take that in, and it doesn't feel very good. Just remember that, do I need to stay there, or can I observe and know that, yes, indeed, this is going on, so you don't get so wrapped up in it, especially some of the negativity that's being exposed right now. All right. Yeah. To continue, many people are going to find themselves more compassionate, and also safety and security, especially with what's going on in the world today. And when you feel that security, know that it is there for you. You can always ask for help. When I say help, I'm talking about what we call our guides or angelic kingdom. Some of the galactic beings, they're here to help, but cannot help without our asking.
And your higher self.
Biggest thing is your higher self. And what is your higher self?
I don't know how to put words on that.
I was going to say it's another aspect of you, but that's not even correct. It is all of you.
Yeah. Because we're so immense in our beingness, we don't fit into a human shell.
Part of us is in this human shell, or when I say part, I remember Terry saying, "No, we're not a part," but it's really it's all of us. And we trying to figure out how to explain this. We have connections to the other aspects that are us, that could be in other timelines, somewhere else in the cosmos, and we may look like everything's simultaneous, so it is the same time, yet we still operate on linear time
on the earth.
Even though some of that is merging. So that's like, what does this look like? How does this work? But you may, have memories of other lifetimes, and some of those lifetimes could be almost simultaneous to this lifetime. So it's really kind of weird.
Yeah, and it is possible to be here and to be aware of doing something else at that very moment, someplace else, not on the earth.
Yeah. It's like, you think, why did my mind go there? But you're tuning into another part of yourself.
Yes.
Or aspect of yourself. Another thing on the 222 is community. And I mentioned emotions a moment ago, but then that includes our emotional connections. And some of us will be very, feel a closeness to many people, and other people that you once felt a closeness to, you no longer have the same thought patterns. And so some of those will fade away or fade out of your life. And even though they were a good friend at one time. And so that will happen. And so, be careful about chastising yourself, like, I need to contact this friend, blah, 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 because that's what you used to do. But all of a sudden you're not feeling it anymore. So pay attention to that within you and do what's best for you. And same with the other person, may release that I need to do this just because it's the way I've done it. Yeah. So, those are some of the old programs that we bought into that we need to stick with that, or we feel guilty if we don't. So it's getting rid of any of that guilt because it serves us not.
Yes, that's for sure.
And the big thing about the 222 is the balance of the feminine and masculine. And that is not necessarily a man or a woman. That's within ourselves.
Yes, each of us.
Yeah. So that's that. Now, I did see a post on that I've forgotten on Telegram. Anyways, on your additional, when you look at additional clock and you look at the number 2222022, right? That it reads.
There's another zero in there. 202.
Yeah. That's right. 20222. Yeah.
2022.
All right. It's called a palindrome. The number on a digital clock is called a palindrome and an ambigram. Ambigram, I believe, is how you pronounce it. So it reads the same as left to right, as right to left, and upside down.
Yeah.
So it's really pretty cool. So it's not going to happen again. So so there you go. But there's some of the high points of the 222 and the gateway that is happening now.
I've got one little thing to add to that. In a site that I found on my phone, Divine Angel Numbers, it says about the 222, a neutral mindset will considerably assist you in difficult and unforeseen situations. Reach a state of mind, soul, and bodily equilibrium. And there's that balance thing coming into play again.
Yeah. Well, you just mentioned neutral in your mindset. And I would like for you to expand on that because it's something we talked about earlier today.
Yes, I was in conversation with Bev a few days ago, and was talking about setting an intention upon our waking, and this is to help you to be a bit more clear and to be of that neutral mindset. The thing to do would be to visualize your energy field free from any electronic interference, just to get yourself started for the day. That's not meaning that you can't, access your phone or anything like that throughout the day. You can, but just to get started, visualize your energy field free from any electronic interference. So that's that.
Yeah. How many people, and I'm guilty of this, so-called, brought up the word guilty. Whoa, okay, I've done this.
Clear.
Yes, clear, cancel clear. Is that one of the first things you do is you pick up your phone. Okay, what's the latest on Telegram? What's the latest news? Your email, whatever it may be, or what's the weather for the day? All of these things that we have our phone sometimes next to our bed. By the way, I don't know if we've ever talked about this. I'm going to kind of to go on a side trip here. And that is, it's probably best not to have your phone on next to your body while you're sleeping.
Yeah. And I can tell you, it was just last week, I had my cell phone right beside me on my nightstand. And the camera was facing up. And it was the middle of the night. I sat up in bed and I heard my camera. Like you can hear it zoom in and zoom out. I heard my phone do that, and I didn't have it turned on. So you may want to place it in another room, or at least far enough away from you so that you're not getting that interference. So that was a wake-up call for me. Whatever it was about my movement keyed off something. And, you can just use your mind and figure the rest of that one out.
Big Brother is watching. So, yeah, I started leaving mine in the other room. And, a wall between me and quite a few feet away. So, and sometimes I'll leave my phone on, especially if a storm's coming, if I need to be alerted for whatever it may be. But anyway, I have it far enough away because it does affect our physical body. And even though you may not feel it, but it's not real healthy.
Yes, haven't they done studies where they, like if you have it close to your head, they do the what?
It does cause radiation or something.
Yeah, the radiation.
It cooks your brain.
Yeah, you can see it using some of the technological means to see that there's a big red field of irritation with your body part that the phone was closest to.
Yes. I even noticed today, by the way, I had my mobile phone in my back pocket, and it was bothering me, the electronic part, not the physical part.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up taking it out. I thought, geez, I'm feeling this. So, that happens with you, and you carry your phone on your body. There are little patches and things that you can put on your phone so it does not affect your body, or that you can put a barrier in there, because it definitely does affect your body. And especially if you use your mobile phone next to your ear, I recommend that you use the speakerphone, yeah. So you don't have that against your ear, unless you have a real private conversation. Okay, you can do that, but then move it away from your body.
Yeah.
So, by the way, talking about phones, I understand there are some new phones that are going to be out, and they will not affect the body the way they are now, and won't work off. And it'll work off, I think, a satellite system versus the cell towers, and it will not be harmful to the body. I think that
but that's something to come in the future, right?
Yeah, not far in the future. It's my understanding.
Can't come here fast enough for
me.
me.
Exactly. Yeah. Like Royce does hear cell towers and the electronic noises.
Yeah.
And it's harmful, and it hurts the ears.
Yeah. You get physical sensations like with the brain that you're not supposed to be able to feel anything in. It's very uncomfortable, very oppressive. So.
Yeah. Well, one thing that you did tell me, Royce, the other day, talking about clearing out and having that neutral mindset so you can hear the real you, essentially what you said, and you basically see what is real, and do this every day, because everything is in that morpho, I can never say that word, morphogenetic field. Did I say it correctly?
I can't remember how the last of it goes.
But anyway, it's all out there. But that to move some of the electronic equipment away from you the best you can, and just clear that space for yourself. And you'll know when you can pull the electronics back in, and that's when you feel comfortable and you feel clear. So just keep that in mind. All right. Next, one of the things that that I'm going to let you share with Royce. She heard this earlier, and I said, "Is that Shakespeare?" She goes, "No, it's me." I went, "Oh, okay." So anyway, I'm going to have you share that, and then I'm going to share some of the information I received also.
Yeah, earlier we sat down and got into a quieted state so we could, we usually do that on podcast day. And so this is what came through. Ruthless in its nature, the ne'er-do-wells have had their day in the sun, and that sun is setting. And I say hallelujah.
So, excuse me. All right. Well, obviously we know, I think most of you know what that means. And
ne'er-do-wells, those who never do well, who have bad intentions for,
right,
humanity and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, it's not going to work much longer.
That's right.
And right now it's being shown for what it is. And, we're seeing all this stuff go out in the world, and, we're not really being told the truth on most of the news programs. And, the so-called boots in the ground are telling us what the truths are. So anyway, go ahead. Do you have something to add to that?
Now, when you talk about those with boots on the ground, you're talking about those who have been observing what's been going on that's not necessarily coming across by way of the news, right?
Exactly. Those that are there observing with their eyes and their ears.
Yes. So this is another wake-up call for all of us to use our own intuition. Exercise that muscle you've got. excuse us. Bev had to leave the room with a cough, so. And I get flustered, so that's the way that one goes.
I'm not sure what you just said, but excuse me, I didn't want to cough on the phone. All right. All right. I guess it's out. All right. Okay. Royce just said the ne'er-do-wells have had their day in the sun, and that sun is setting.
Yeah.
And here's what I received, which also explains that. Be not afraid of what is to come. After all exposure, there will be those who will be very confused. One step at a time to unwind the falsehoods of yesteryear. So a lot of this will be hard to handle for a lot of people. Just remember, just go with one step at a time and to start understanding some of these falsehoods that we have lived under. So, and some of them, from my understanding, are going to be quite shocking. And I recall, this is probably about 2 months ago, that I shared on one of the podcasts that some of this information is going to rock the world.
Yeah, so. And when that happens, just remember about what was said about the 222 thing, about keeping that balance in mind, soul, and body. And what I'm getting at here is our tendency might be to get extremely upset. I know that's I'm part Bohemian, so that I blame that anyway.
Can't do that anymore. No more pointing the finger.
But it's not a time for getting upset. It's a time for saying, okay, I didn't realize that was going on. I see it now, and that's not what I choose for the future. Mm-hmm. So it's just helping us to move on, to acknowledge what's been there, and to move forward and upward.
Yeah. Well, talking about the word forward, the rest of what I received earlier today was move forward in your thoughts. Those dreams of grandeur, however that looks for you. It may be a garden or a fine home. It matters not. It is energy in motion. So much more to come. The possibilities are endless. Your horizons will open wide. So that makes me very excited.
Yes.
So that's the end of it. Your
yes.
horizons will open wide. And it's like we don't even know what those possibilities are.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to see so many more possibilities. Our people are going to be able to express themselves. The more that we're merging with our other selves, more of that information comes through, and our horizons expand. And so it's to me, it's very exciting. I just, these are incredible times, even though at times we're like, huh? But these are exciting times that we're moving through, and that's why we came here for. Talk about soul mission. It's to bring these changes on. It's just time for the earth to keep moving through I call it ascension process or dimensional shift, other words that have been used.
Yeah, it isn't the number for pi 1.618 ...
Is it 3.14?
Is it? I can't remember, but the point is that it has that ... at the end, meaning that it goes on for infinity. Mm-hmm. And so we have that same infinity built in to us. It's even built into our DNA. There's so much of that we are totally unaware of, and it is becoming manifested into the physical as we speak. So no telling what we're going to realize that we can do in the physical. Yeah.
Was it last week or 2 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago, one of the two, where I mentioned about our DNA being activated. And a lot of the children are coming in with more than their 2 strands activated. And then on many of the, I call adults, or that the third, fourth strands are being activated now. Some people have more activations within their body. So it's just it's pretty amazing of what we're seeing, and it's happening. I mean, it's literally happening, and we're seeing weird things in our skies. I mean, starting to look up. A lot of ships are showing themselves. Even some of the sky phenomenon is due to the chemtrails, which eventually those are going to have to fade away unless they're for the betterment of mankind. So, we haven't really talked about chemtrails. They're a little different than contrails, but basically chemicals that are strewn through the air.
Yeah.
And a few days ago here, I mean, they were
on the 15th.
15th, yeah, they were everywhere, starting in the morning, all day long, and then we're in South Carolina. So I don't know if they were elsewhere, but it was pretty amazing. It's one of the, the whole day.
Yeah.
It's most I've seen in a long time.
Yeah,
that
very long time.
So, and a lot of those are not very healthy things for us to breathe. It is dumped on us for whatever reason.
Yeah. By the way, I looked up the number for pi, and you were right. The 3.14. I don't know. I couldn't find the number that I was thinking it was. I don't know where that came from, but I know it's something significant. So I'll find that later.
I've seen it, and I can't recall what that is either. But anyway, we'll figure that out. All right. Well, that's basically it on the 222. Just realize, what we talked about, manifesting, and it's like this fertile ground for manifestations. And so, think of your dreams, and of grandeur is what I was told today, and that can mean anything. That doesn't mean opulence or anything like that. It's what makes you feel wonderful.
Yeah, that thing that makes your heart sing.
Yeah.
Sets you free.
Yeah.
On the inside.
Is that, planting a garden? Is that taking a walk in the along a path? Or is it walking along the ocean? I mean, it can mean all kinds of things. It doesn't necessarily mean having physical means. It can mean that if that's what you want. But just remember, it's this fertile, do what you love. And it's just, that really makes the world change. If you're doing what you absolutely love, then that vibration goes out. And I mentioned the field, and we all feel it. Or if people are afraid, you feel that too. So the more that we, let's say, pump love into the world, but the more that we are loving with ourselves, the more the world feels it.
That's right.
So, yeah. So
it draws more of that to us, as opposed to the opposite,
Well, it's interesting because a lot of people said, okay, how am I going to pay my bills? How am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? Yeah, I've been there and still go there on occasion. It's like, okay, can I, really, this is something I really want. No, I'm talking about material means now. And it's like, I don't know if I want to spend that money, blah, blah, blah. But the more we open ourselves up to that manifestation, be it through money, through whatever it is, that what does that money signify to you? So something that you want. So, it may not be through money that you get a garden or you get something that, that's going to help you in your life. There might be other ways that it comes to you. So be open to it and don't be closed down one little lane, because when you do that, you really can't see what's beyond the horizons and what's right and left. So it's a lot to understand and behold in this world, in our internal world, because our internal world becomes our external world.
Yes.
So, all right. Do you want to talking about something small that gets larger? And then we'll end with that. So we're kind of moving on to one more thing, and then we'll leave it at that.
Bev and I were talking about some of the UFO experiences that I've had, and I thought I would share one with you tonight. And it has to do with, things are not always the way they appear to be. I was pretty young. Actually, it was before I started to school in elementary school, if I remember correctly. And I was outside. We lived in the country, and back in the time when you could be outside and not be worried about. So I was just enjoying being out. And all of a sudden, I realized that there was something over my head, and I looked up, and there was this small disc thing. It wasn't but about 2.5 feet wide, and it was going around in a circle. It was rather disc shaped. It had different colors, almost that kind of like spiraled out when it went around. And it hovered over my head for a bit, and I was just, like, wow, that's something really pretty. I was just a kid. And then it moved and went back behind where our barn was, back out in the pasture. And so I made my way down there because I wanted to see where it went. And I went back behind the barn, and well, this thing was no longer just 2.5 feet wide. It was more like about 18 feet wide. And I approached it, and as I approached it, something odd happened. I got to a certain point, and I was no longer outside the thing, but I was inside of it. And what had appeared to be like 18 feet wide was more like about 60 feet long. It was very large on the inside, and there were other beings in there, and there was a corridor and these glassed-looking petitions. You could look from the corridor into these glass petitions and see what was going on inside of them, and that's where I ended up, seated at a table with these blocks on the table. And I looked toward the corridor, and I was being observed by these very extraterrestrial looking beings. It was more of a creamy, in between an ivory color and a gray, a little bit taller than what you see the little grays to be. But I was being observed, and I was playing with the blocks, but not just on the table. I was using my mind to move them. And I guess that's why I was being observed, was because I could move the blocks with my mind. And that is all that I remember about that particular event. But I just, every time I think about it, it really does a strange thing to your mind because of the spatial. It just, it's what space means to us here meant nothing in context with how space relates with the UFOs. It was totally morphed, and it changed multiple times, from very small to very large, and what looked one way on the outside of the thing was totally different on the inside of the thing. So it was just, the physics just didn't add up here. But it was just, I guess from a very young age, my mind was being stretched. So I took a lot of things for granted that were to be of possibilities. So it was like a lot of things. It was like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, that's possible, no big deal. And other people are like, no way, they totally close their minds off to certain things. So,
well, when you get into multi-dimensions or frequencies, then your physics change.
Yeah.
And what I got earlier today, which made me think, your horizons will open wide. Wow, that really falls in line with this, your story when you were a child.
Yes, and there some of the photography that has been taken of the videos that have been taken by the military, now they're seeing that these vehicles change shape.
Mm-hmm.
They get larger or smaller, and they even break into pieces that are fully functional individual vehicles.
Yeah.
So it's
talk about stretching the mind.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Well, start looking up, because a lot of them are being seen in the sky.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned that in the last podcast. There is a possibility of a fake alien invasion. If that, I hate to bring that, well, I'm bringing it up. So I was hearing a little bit about that earlier today. But if that happens, I don't know if it's going to. But fear not. And
use your intuition.
Use your love. The more that you use your love, more of that stuff cannot happen, because that energy won't support it. So it's an important time to do that, and to know that, be that. And again, this is 222-222.
Be all you can be.
Be all you can be. Yeah. So it's a happy Tuesday, is that what people are saying.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you all for joining us tonight. And yeah, we'll see what happens the next 2 weeks. Wow, this is a daily thing that's going on in this world. It's like, okay, what's next? But be centered within yourself, and observe versus get embroiled. Because when you do get embroiled, you can get focused on something that you're working on, a project. Be embroiled in some of the anger and that sort of thing may not be so healthy.
And that's being reactive.
Yeah.
That the thing that I think we're all working toward is being proactive instead of reactive.
Yeah. Yep. Very good.
So that means that you made a conscious choice to do something specific, being proactive.
Mm-hmm. That's a big thing, making a conscious choice.
Yeah.
And we are being more conscious within our bodies to make these conscious choices.
Yeah.
So I think it's great. So anyway, all right. Thank you all for joining us tonight, and we appreciate listening to our podcast. We're still excited about this, and we'll continue on. Again, if you have any questions, there's a number that you can reach us. It's on our YouTube page. So, excuse me. And you can write it there. You can write comments on our YouTube page. And then some of you are on my subscriber list, and I do get comments from you through there too. So if anybody else wants to be on my personal subscriber list, you let me know through the number that is listed on our page. So thank you very much.
Well, tonight I just wanted to say thank you all so very much for still being here on the planet at this time. We need you. And as you progress further through this 222-222 time, may your balance be manifest in magnificent ways. Love yourself and love others. Make a point to be happy.
Yeah, love it. Thank you very much. Well said, as always. All right, we'll see. Our next podcast is going to be on, March 15th. No, that can't be right. Whoa, I think I went a week. Look at that calendar wrong. So I think that'd be the March 8th. I believe.
Sounds better.
All right. Yes. Whoops. I caught that one. Anyway, next, yes. So the next one will be on March 8th, and you're welcome to listen live. Again, all the information to listen live is located on our YouTube page. So again, Conscious Gatherers. Thank you very much. And I guess that's it. Blessings to you all as we move through these processes that are truly amazing. And remember to remain centered as we go through these, what they call them, exposures, or what's being exposed. So, world's not what we thought it was. So, our changes are definitely happening, and I think happening for the betterment of the earth and humankind.
Yeah, and those things that needed to come out, that were lurking in the shadows, doing no good, they're being exposed. It's a good thing. They have to be exposed for us to know what's been there and to make a choice to do something better.
Exactly. We talked about using old programs. A lot of those programs came from some of that. They called it hijacking. Various other terminology has been used. Indeed, it's what's happened. But we're waking up, and we're waking up big time around the world. So it's really wonderful. All right. Well, thank you again, and until next time, we love you all.
Yes. Love. Good night.
Good night.